welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to show you how to make your very own gluten-free sourdough starter. This process took me 6 days and I'm going to show you everything I did from start to finish. And I'll even show you a loaf of bread that I was able to make on day 6. So let's get started. On day 1 in the morning, to a clean pint jar, add 100 grams of buckwheat flour and 100 grams of warm water. Stir well to combine. I'm using buckwheat flour only for the first 24 hours. Then I'll switch to brown rice flour. Buckwheat is a hearty grain with lots of good microorganisms to jumpstart the fermentation process. You might need a little more water because buckwheat is a thirsty grain. When the flour and water are well combined, put the lid on, but do not tighten the lid. It needs to be loose to allow for airflow. Place it in a warm spot, preferably between 75 to 79 degrees Fahrenheit. On day 1 in the evening, check on your starter culture. As you can see, not much has changed. I don't see any activity or air pockets. So just give it a good stir and loosely replace the lid. Put it back in its warm spot until morning. On day 2 in the morning, you can see there is some activity. It rose a bit above the rubber band and there are some visible air pockets. Now we will do our first feeding. To a clean pint jar, add 50 grams of your starter culture, 50 grams of brown rice flour, and 50 grams of warm water. Stir well to combine. Loosely put the lid back on and add the rubber band so you can see how much it rises. Put it back in its warm spot until evening. Also to note, at this point you will discard the remaining starter culture. Once it is fully active, you can store it in the fridge to use it in discard recipes. On day 2 in the evening, there are some nice air pockets and it rose a bit above the rubber band. Follow the same feeding instructions as you did in the morning. 50 grams of starter, 50 grams of warm water, and 50 grams of brown rice flour. Place it back in its warm spot. On day 3 in the morning, there are some air pockets, but it didn't rise much at all. This is normal for day 3. Follow the same feeding instructions from day 2. On day 3 in the evening, not much has changed. Feed it again, following the same instructions as before. On day 4 in the morning, you can see some activity and it smells better, but it didn't rise much. Feed it again, following the same instructions as before. On day 4 in the evening, it rose above the rubber band and it has a good smell. Feed again as before. On day 5 in the morning, it looks like it almost doubled in size and it is almost ready to use. This time I'm going to feed it my normal maintenance feeding, which is 75 grams of starter, 75 grams of brown rice flour, and 75 grams of warm water. On day 5 in the evening, again it almost doubled. Feed it again as we did in the morning. On day 6 in the morning, it is ready to use. I will feed it my maintenance feeding and use it to make a leaven for bread in the afternoon. That is it. I hope this video was helpful and that it inspired you to make your own gluten-free starter. Thanks for watching, and please remember to like and subscribe.